income of the Vice President vis-a-vis what appears in her account? Honorable Ortega, may we hear your confirmation?
Yes.
Madam Chair, which account? Which bank records? Because we are here, ultimate facts. Which bank account? Which bank record are we talking about here if it's stated here? Because I have read this thoroughly 3 times already and I did not see any.
Madam Chair.
Yeah, but maybe us first, our endorser. Because we have to have ultimate facts. When you say bank records, then you have a duly authenticated bank statement given by the bank.
With all due respect to the Honorable Rodriguez,
Yes, ma'am.
let us all be reminded of the bank secrecy law. While the bank account is significant, I think we are not in the position to expect the complainants to provide specific details of these accounts in view of the bank secrecy law. And we all understand that impeachment proceeding is the only avenue by which the complainants may be able to look into this and perhaps avail of the documents necessary to support this specific ground. That is for the record. The honorable endorsers are recognized to respond to the Honorable Rodriguez.
Therefore, the need for forensic financial review, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Let's go back to the Justice member who raised this question. The Honorable Poe is again recognized.
So continuing on that point and manifestation, since there are no documents or bank records that could be cited, was there maybe any sworn testimony, public disclosures, audit findings, financial statements, or comparative SALN data over the years that may have been used as the basis for this ground?
The Honorable Poe is asking about the specific documents or evidence in support of the 5th ground of the 4th impeachment complaint. That is in view of the bank secrecy law. What therefore are the evidence so far attached or considered in support of the 5th ground of the 4th impeachment complaint?
Madam Chair, it would not be automatic for us to be able to tell those banks no because of the bank secrecy law. That's the reason why ito, pinag-uusapan natin, yung impeachment complaint na ito, lalabas po ito sa trial. We are not yet in the trial. We are just talking about the sufficiency of substance dito. Meron bang sufficiency of substance na pinag-uusapan natin? Meron. But in everything in this, I would like to tell our colleagues here, no, na this will all come out in the trial, in the impeachment court. You see? Yun po ang nais kong sabihin sa lahat.
The Honorable Rodriguez.
In answer to my good chairman, the Committee on Human Rights, there has to be a recital of facts. And in a recital of facts, there must be a reference to testimonies about bank accounts, if you cannot get the bank accounts. In other words, there has to be a nexus of the statement about irregularity in SALN and bank records by having itself the bank records, the SALNs. And so therefore, it is totally devoid of any particular recital of facts, because that is what we need. We cannot go further if there is no recital of facts constituting the offense charge. Because in fact, you know, the statement of Honorable Brian Poe that there is a requirement in the Constitution of SALN, whatever it is, it's not in the 6. To construe the constitutional provisions, you are very much limited to the enumeration. Use them generis. If it's not in the, it's not in the enumeration, it cannot be a ground. So again, culpable violation of the Constitution. 2nd, treason. 3rd, bribery. 4th, graft and corruption. Other high crimes with public trust. No statement about having an inaccurate or untruthful SALNs as a ground for impeachment. So that is what we have. We have to therefore have that. So just to be able to respond to the statement that there is a violation of the Constitution that is culpable. It is not, Madam Chair. In fact, those in the SALN can even be able to reform and refile a corrected one, Madam Chair.
Madam
The
Chair.
Honorable Defensor.
Madam Chair.
And
Thank
then
you.
the Honorable Abante.
Thank you. Madam Chairman, the most democratic way to settle this, whether there is a recital of facts or not, is to follow the rulings of the Supreme Court that in impeachment proceedings, each member is allowed to decide for himself how to appreciate the recital of facts or the evidence. And the best way to do that is by voting later on. So let's proceed and let's not stall anymore. Thank you.
We
Madam
invite the
Chair.
attention of the members to the manifestation of the Honorable Defensor. There is no quantum of evidence required in determining the sufficiency in substance. And in the case of Merceditas Gutierrez, it has been upheld by the Supreme Court that the decision rests to the exclusive judgment of the individual
Yes.
members of the Justice Committee.
Madam Chair.
I think that rests our discussion.
Madam Chair. let
on
me
this specific
Madam Chair,
ground.
Let me just answer.
The Honorable Abante.
As an endorser, no, let me just answer the statement of Congressman Rufus. Of course, not being a lawyer, but of course, a very good student of law, no, legal doctrine, as explained in the case of Gutierrez, nabanggit na kanina, no, versus HOR, Committee on Justice. An impeachment complaint is sufficient in substance when it recites facts that, assuming their truth, constitute an impeachable offense and are determinative of the committee's jurisdiction. Yun po yung binanggit kanina ni Congressman Lawrence. It is not yet a full-blown trial on the merits. Oh, because sufficiency in substance, as has been said, requires a recital of facts that, assuming the truth, sapagkat lahat po ito allegations pa lang assuming their truth, constitute an impeachable offense and establish the committee's jurisdiction. Therefore, an impeachment complaint that is conclusory, fact-bare, or effectively unsupported despite verification is vulnerable to being found insufficient. Yun po ang gustong sabihin, no? Now, pinag-usapan yung recital of ultimate facts dito. The fourth complaint that we are endorsing is sufficient in substance because it does not rely on mere constitutional labels or generic accusations as accused by Congressman Rufus. Hindi lang ito basta nagsabi ng betrayal of public trust or culpable violation nang walang detalye sapagkat nakalagay na po lahat di ba? Instead, it pleads a concrete recital of facts constituting the offense charge and determinative of the committee's jurisdiction. Sa madaling salita, may malinaw na salaysay na mga pangyayari, may petsa, may halaga, may dokumento, at may testigo. Hindi ito puro haka-haka o opinion lamang. So in particular, the complaint alleges a public admission on 23 November 2024 regarding contracting an assassin, for example, together with the Alice non-retraction and reiteration of that statement. It situates these allegations within their factual context, security implications, legal theory, expressly invoking culpable violation of the Constitution, betrayal of public trust, and other high crimes which are constitutional ground for impeachment under the 1987 Constitution. Ibig sabihin, hindi lamang sinabi na may kasalanan. Ipaniliwanag kung ano ang sinabi, kailan sinabi, paano ito nakaapekto sa seguridad ng bansa at bakit ito pumapasok sa mga grounds of impeachment. The complaint likewise alleges, allegations pa rin, specific confidential funds transactions and supporting particulars, including, for example, pinag-usapan na kahapon to, 125 million in cash on December 20, 2022. Alice liquidation within 11 days. Alice COA disallowance of 73,287,000. Alice irregularities such as duplicate pays, PSA certifications of non-existent records, and fabricated receipts. And it also cites an identified affiant, Ramil Madriaga, and references relevant documentary records. Mahalaga ito dahil may eksaktong halaga eksaktong petsa at tinukoy ng mga dokumento at affidavit. Hindi ito simpleng akusasyon lamang. May mga kalakip na ebidensya at pangalan ng testigo. These particulars matter dahil sinabi ng Korte Suprema na, I quote, mere allegation is not evidence. And that verification presupposes reliance on documents and other pertinent records supporting the allegation. Sa madaling salita, para po maunawaan din ng mga ordinaryong kababayan natin na sumusubaybay sa atin ngayon, hindi pwedeng puro salita lamang. Kailangan may batayan. At dito may tinutukoy ng mga dokumento at opisyal na record. Nalalabas po yan. Hindi lang po siguro natin pwedeng sabihin, 24 hours, lalabas ka dito. Meron po tayong sinusunod na batas tungkol dito. So finally, the fourth complaint alleges discrete acts of obstruction of oversight, including, nabanggit na po kahapon to, refusal to answer questions in House hearings, Alice instruction to COA not to comply with a subpoena, entry into House premises during detention days. Maraya po mga bagay, mga colleagues, Madam Chair. Yun lang po ang gusto kong sabihin dito.
Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Po, then the Honorable Chua, the Honorable Suntay, and the Honorable De Lima.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, the reason why I asked earlier about the sworn statements, etc., is because I believe what the endorser was saying about the Madriaga complaint served as the trigger for this ground. No? And that basically, I'm asking these questions to show that if we are allowed to proceed to merit, we immediately would be able to determine whether or not this ground really does stand. Because as mentioned earlier, there are certain documents which would be critical to this ground, which if they were disclosed, would immediately determine the innocence or the guilt of the parties involved, which is why it makes a strong argument as to why we should move to merit already.
The
Madam Chair,
Honorable Po
Madam Chair.
is saying to proceed
Madam Chair, may I answer
with our
that for a
impeachment
while?
proceed to be able
Madam
for
Chair.
us to
Madam
know
Chair, just
the
a short
veracity of
answer.
the
no?
allegation on this particular ground. Honorable
Just-
Abante, kindly wait
Just
until
a
the
short
Honorable
one,
Chua is
Mr.
finished.
Madam Chair.
Madam
If we
Chair,
are on
let
time
Honorable
me,
right now,
Abante.
can we call the witnesses?
I am recognized.
Can we ask the
That will-
committee to
That
call
will
the witnesses?
happen.
Because we can call them.
That will happen after the determination of sufficiency in substance.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Chua is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, considering that the rules of court is suppletory to the rules of impeachment, then probably the remedy is, if there is vague allegation, the remedy is for the respondent to file a bill of particulars. Or probably, Madam Chair, is for her to put it as an affirmative defense in her answer. And then later on, it can be answered in a reply by the complainant. That is the remedy, but not to dismiss this ground or this case. Thank you, Madam Chair.
The Honorable Suntay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, as correctly pointed out, under Article 5, the allegation states, respondents engage in conduct indicative of unexplained wealth and material non-disclosure of her salin. Pero ang malaking problema, pag tinignan natin, hindi naka-attach what salin we are talking about. Kung walang salin na naka-attach, walang baseline para makita natin what was allegedly omitted. Ano yung inconsistent? Then I was looking, going back to the complaint, there is no recital eh. So paano natin malalaman which inconsistencies are we talking about? There is 811 pages dito sa complaint. Karamihan ng attachment, acknowledgement receipt, PSA certification, DepEd certification, isang audit memorandum at saka notice of disallowance. Pero both the salary and the bank account being stated, wala naman. Merong allegation of unexplained wealth, pero hindi rin sinabi dito anong basis ng unexplained wealth. Which property are we talking about? What acquisition are we referring to? Without all those things, then the narration of facts is incomplete. There is no nexus, Madam Chair. Thank you very much.
Our parliamentary status is we are determining the sufficiency in substance in line with the fifth ground of the fourth impeachment complaint that corresponds to unexplained wealth and the salin of the respondent. The Honorable De Lima is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a brief point. Ultimate facts do not pertain to evidentiary facts. So salins, bank accounts, bank transactions are evidentiary facts. Now, just to address the belief of some that there is there is absolutely no averment of fact in relation to Article 5. May nakita po akong isa. I was still trying to look for more because this is a lengthy reading. Paragraph 76. And paragraph 76 is found under the statement of facts and antecedent facts. And that is before the discussion on the articles, the main discussion of the articles. So we cannot segregate what are discussed or laid down in that portion of statement of antecedent facts with the discussion now. So paragraph 76, as I said, this can fall under a narration or a statement of an ultimate fact. What does it say? Public records and investigative leads indicate the existence of bank accounts, property transactions, and other financial movements that are disproportionate to respondent Sara Duterte's lawful income and not fully reflected in her statements of assets, liabilities, and net worth. Isn't this an essential, material, ultimate fact that can be supported, substantiated during the evidentiary stage of these proceedings? Thank you very much.
The Honorable Nazal and then the Honorable Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Pag binasa po nyo itong mga nakalagay sa Article 5 regarding unexplained wealth, SALN violations, bank records, and financial forensics, nakalagay lahat sila based on assumptions in preliminary documentary leads, hindi po solid proof. It keeps saying that a forensic review will uncover unexplained assets, but as of now, wala naman napakita yung complaint. Wala man lang attachments na kahit ano to prove itong sinasabi na unexplained wealth. First, the complaint talks about supposed discrepancies in the SALNs, but differences in reporting do not automatically mean someone was dishonest. Hindi po ako abogado, but I'm an economist. Bago po ako naging congressman. Alam naman po natin na property values change. Assets can be bought or sold at different times. To immediately label this as pattern of concealment without clear proof of intent is unfair and speculative at best, Madam Chair. Second, kailangan daw po ng forensic financial review to reconcile declared income and assets sa SALN. Identify unexplained inflows or transfers and trace the disposition of public funds alleged to have been diverted. Hindi ba dapat po trabaho ito ng complainant na mapakita ng ebidensya sa reklamo niya para maging sufficient in substance? Third, the complaint points to large cash disbursements from confidential funds and say these correlate with certain financial movements. But yung mismong complaint admits in paragraph 237 that correlation is not conclusive. Suspicion based only on timing does not prove personal gain. So, mag-i-impeach po tayo ng Vice President na binoto ng 32 million na tao na Pilipino dahil lang sa suspetsa. Third, the mention of intermediaries, third-party accounts, corporations, or relatives is likewise made to sound suspicious. But many lawful transactions are done through representatives or business entities. These arrangements are common and legal. Dapat man lang may katibayan o pruweba na ginagamit ang mga ito para sa mga illegal na gawain. Wala naman pinakita na kahit anong dokumento sa complaint. Fourth, alam natin, Madam Chair, na ang bank secrecy is not absolute, pero hindi natin ito dapat ma-set aside based on unverified claims. Investigation should be based on real and credible evidence, not on fishing expeditions in the hope of finding something. Most importantly, ang impeachment ay isang seryosong constitutional process. Kaya dapat, it should not be based on guesses or on what someone thinks might be discovered later. The burden is on the accusers to prove actual unexplained wealth. The Vice President should not be expected to disprove mere suspicions. At the end of the day, Madam Chair, Article 5 is asking people to assume guilt based on what might be found later, not on what has clearly been proven now. Allegations and suspicions are not the same as evidence. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Next is the Honorable Rodriguez.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. With due respect to our new Deputy Minority Leader, she tried to link, to explain Article 5, which has zero recital of facts on unexplained wealth, SALN violation, bank records, and financial forensics, by going to the statement of facts. And that's just right, that we can cite that. However, what does paragraph 76 state? Are these recital of facts? I will read, Madam Chair. And it is for all of us to determine whether this is a recital of ultimate facts constituting the offense. It says here, public records and investigative leads indicate existence of bank accounts. What are these public records? What are these investigative leads? You know, Madam Chair, you can see here, the fourth impeachment complaint is really a big volume of annexes. There is no annex on this particular, what are the public records? Nothing. What are the investigative leads? There has to be statements. You cannot just say, for example, that there is draft and corruption without also stating the ultimate facts constituting that. You cannot just say, malversation. You cannot do that. There has to be a statement of facts. Now, you say public records. What are these public records? To give us an indication that there's a crime has been committed, that a impeachable offense has been committed. Nothing. And then it says other financial movements. Very vague. Other financial movements. There are a lot of financial movements. In the stock exchange, in the trade and commerce of people. So, what are these financial movements? And they say that are disproportionate to respondents' lawful income